Yo, welcome back. This is Stu42 with another Minecraft video. After last episode's giant, big behind the scenes, that was absolutely mammoth to record. I know the episode wasn't that long in reality once I'd cut it together, but it was quite large getting that dragon down and getting all the bits we needed. As you can see, my rock hounding is now gone from over here. I've mixed stuff up quite a bit. So if we go out here, this is white remodeled now. We've filled this in with a lot of grass, moved a lot of plants over to here, got ourselves a bit more canola. I've moved the rock hounding over to here. It's still not quite automated. It's not quite how I would like it to be at the moment. I need some better piping. But at the moment, still manually doing this basically to get. We've got a few things there. Anyway, that's not what we wanted to do today. What I wanted to do today is get towards. Well, this is where I started. I'll show you the thought process that went into it. So, sag mill, tung steel, yeah, sure, piston, all that, not a problem. Machine chassis, okay. Refined obsidian, we can't get until we get an arc furnace because we need osmium for it. But also this basic capacitor. Now, this needs empowered Restonia crystal. Okay, so we're going to need an empowerer. Yeah, nether brick. We can do all this stuff, but again, we're going to need to make an empowerer, which needs a whole bunch of other things as well. Fences, steel casings, display stands, atomic reconstructor we've got, chiseled quartz. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a pain to make, but we can probably get there. Yeah, steel we've got, the basic control circuit. Oh, osmium again. So we are once again held up by getting osmium. Alright, so we're going to have to do that at some point. But anyway, the other thing we need is mana glass. So we're getting to a point where we're going to need a bit of, stuff from Botania, essentially. So that's where I was going with this episode. We're going to get towards making our mana pool and getting a few things in that sort of area sorted out. So I'll leave the arc furnace for now. It does use a ton of power, and I need to sort out how we're going to store that power and how we're going to generate it still. I don't think the canola will cut it unless we have some sort of battery somewhere. We'll give it a go when we get there. But for this episode, mana glass, Botania. As you can see, I've already made the Lexica Botania. Now, those of you playing the game will realize that there is no flowers in the game. So you actually need this floral fertilizer. So floral fertilizer, mana powder, we're not about to make yet, but pollen clusters we can get, growth powder we can get, and appetite, easy for fertilizer. So what we're going to need, now I'm pretty sure you can do this with shears. We run over to some grass, medium grass. There we go. Okay, so it doesn't work on the medium grass, but we can left click most of these things with it. And we start getting, a bunch of grass. Cool, easy. So that's how we're going to get the floral fertilizer. Now, the other thing is this pollen. Now, pollen is a little bit more tricky to get. We're going to have to start doing bees or trees, one of the two. So what I've been doing is I've been also clearing this massive area out here. And what I'm going to do is we'll start getting some trees here to breed. So what I was thinking is if we do something like an oak, if we hit you on the oak, we might be able to find in here macerator, mana, runic, empowerer, drying. No, so it's not in there at all. Maybe it's the apple oak sapling. Hit you on that apple oak. There we go. Tree produce and tree breeding. Cool. So we're going to need things like silver birch and apple oak to make silver lime, things like that. So what I might do is we're going to just plant some birch and some oak in bits and pieces next to each other. Hopefully they will start, cross breeding with each other, and then we can do things. What are we going to need? We're going to need a grafter. Proven grafter? No, just a grafter's fine. Sticks and a bronze, not a problem. So I'm going to plant a bunch of trees here, maybe clear this out a bit more, make myself a grafter, and we'll see where we get to with getting some tree stuff. Bees, although I've been collecting a few bees, the apiary is still a little bit a little bit out of reach. Yeah, we need living wood for the apiary, so we actually need to get Botania running before we can get the bee houses. Well, we can get bee houses, but we can't get apiaries. All right, I'm going to cut this here. I'll be back in just a moment. I'll clear a little bit more of this out, plant some trees, and we'll see what we get to with getting some pollen and finally getting some Botania flowers happening. So see you back here in just a bit. Alrighty, we're back, and we haven't actually made it very far because I have realised that to get the apple oak sapling, we actually need to make a treelizer first, just to pass the normal oak sapling through in order to get the apple oak sapling. I presume it's the same with the silver birch. Diamond easy, redstone easy, tin easy, glass pane easy, water easy. Just need a carpenter, bit of glass, some bronze. Again, pretty easy stuff for us to make. There's 2 glass. We need a bunch of bronze for our casing, our glass, and 1 carpenter. Now I think in here, no, not there. One of these places. I was pretty sure I had a spare kitchen sink somewhere. Maybe over here with all this stuff. No. no kitchen sink there. Alright, so I'm then going to need to find a kitchen sink somewhere to give us some water. Oh, I've already got some flow conduits, but we're going to need some energy as well, just as well I came over. And then on here, I've actually set up a second set of canola generation. So we have actually got the canola press, fermenting barrel, oil generator here running just fine. We have power underneath, so what I might do is run power into the middle somewhere, and then we'll get our... I know I could probably put covers on this, but at the moment I just don't care enough. I think I need the Yeta wrench for that as well. Now I notice in this version, now we're on a slightly newer version, is we can actually make the Yeta wrench with some different blocks. Before we needed electrical steel. Now we can make it with the BAM ingots, which we can make because it's just boron, aluminium and magnesium. So I may do that at some point, but for now we just need to put down our carpenter on top of here. Yep, we have power, that's fine. We're going to need some water. I still need to figure out what I did with my... What's right there? The sink is right now. Now, does it fill automatically? No. Axe for the sink. So what I might do is we'll put the sink here. Throw that there. No, we need open hand for that. Right click, we need extract, always active. Awesome. Now we're just going to need, where are we? Some glass panes. Need a diamond. We need some redstone panes, and what was that? Some tin ingot. Yeah, let's grab some of those. Yeah. Looks like it should be about it. So tin, diamond, redstone, and panes of glass. Treelizer, go. So we've pretty much got everything else I think we need for this. Got ourselves a grafter. We're going to need to get the saplings, so let's get ourselves, I don't know, a couple of those. Actually, let's do 3 of each, so we can mix them together and get more chance. There is our portable treelizer. Now, what do I need to run the treelizer? Oh, we're going to need us a bee, tree, butterfly, other individual, and then provide honey or honeydew as a pacifier. So this is where... Ah, cool. Alright, so we don't even need to... It just turns them into apple oak straight away. Birch turns into silver birch. Fantastic. This is going to be enough for us to get our first bits running. So I'm going to plant these over here in a sort of, what are we going to do? Here looks good. So one there, give them enough space to interleave with each other. Cool, and now we can either get some bone meal and do that, or we wait. So I'm going to wait because I'm going to carve out some more of this and maybe do some work around the place. So I'll be back in a moment once these things have grown and we can use our grafter on them, and hopefully we'll get some pollen out of it. So see you back here in just a bit. So we have our trees all grown, but as you can see, there are no special leaf blocks. I even tried to plant some over here. That is the weirdest looking leaf pattern for a spruce I've seen. Anyway, there's no special leaf blocks happening there. So what we're going to need to do is kickstart this. We're obviously not getting butterflies. The other way of doing it is with bees. So we can't make an apiary yet, but we can make a bee house. So over here, what I've done is I've made a squeezer and a carpenter. The squeezer is busy squeezing all of the seeds that I'm not using anymore, including the canola seeds left over from doing this. It's quite good to use those up. And we're getting a bunch of seed oil in here. What we're going to need to do though is get some sticks, and frames are always good, so let's just make a ton of them. The other thing we need for the bee house is some slabs like that, and then we're just going to need the slabs, the planks, and some combs. Over here I should have, yes, a couple of combs. Oh, we'll use the parched one because they're useless. So I've collected some bees, got some enders from the end from last episode, as well as other various bees. No rocky ones yet. I think I know where some rocky hives are, but they're a bit far away, so I have to get them some other time. Let's grab the impregnated sticks. We need, let's grab a couple of those. Cool, so we need to grab, they still don't stack, that's annoying. And then we need one of those. What are we doing for that there? Use up all the planks. One bee house. And I'm not afraid of making too many bee houses because we're going to need them anyway to make the apiaries, since they're an ingredient in apiaries. And now we just need some bees. So what have we got heaps of? We have heaps of meadows. So let's grab a meadow. So they're all pristine now. Let's use the ignoble, a couple of those, and go and put some bee houses down. So let's put one, I don't know, there. We want half and that. Now I don't know if these are going to hurt me. I should probably actually put these around the far side. Let's put one there. It probably will hurt me, I'd say. No flowers. Oh, no flowers. Maybe no flowers. There's trees there for them to do their little polleny business on. Okay, flowers. We're going to need, let's just grab a couple of rose bushes. We'll do a couple of yellow ones. They're probably going to make more flowers anyway. Race back over. And we'll throw one there, one there. Wow, it goes double height straight away. And one over here, and one over here. Now this will probably need to be, yep, clear sky, not a problem. And we're going. Cool. Alright, so I'm going to leave this to go for a little bit. Choose your biome. Do you know bees are written biomes that suit their species? Not bright enough and not daytime. Alright. And I can see them buzzing around, that's good. Let's just sleep outside. And is it going to hurt me? Near the water, yes, I did know that. Cool, so I'm going to leave this go for a while. I'll be back in a moment once we've let these run for a bit, and we'll see how we're going with our leaf blocks. See you in a bit. Alrighty, we're back. A bit of time has passed. I've actually made a second set of the bee houses, and as you can see, we are starting to get some of these things through. Now, I wasted a grafter before, but let's see what we get from there. So what do we get? Silver lime. Excellent. That's one that we want. What about here? That's... no, just a red spruce. That's another silver lime. Alright, so what do we need? We need this, and cut some of those now. Silver birch, apple oak. So it looks like we're only going to have a couple of silver limes. So what I'm going to do is I'll plant these out, and hopefully we'll start getting, maybe these will be advanced enough in order to get the butterflies that we're needing. And then hopefully we'll start getting some pollen drops from them. So I'll be back in a minute. I'll let a few of these go. I'm going to harvest a few more of these and see what sort of trees we get. We'll come back in a sec once, well, in a sec for you, a bit longer for me, once these have grown, and hopefully we'll get some pollen happening. See you again in just a bit. So once more, just checking in, a bit of time again has gone past. We've managed to get some, what are these? It doesn't say what it is, but some mundane larch anyway. We've also got our silver lines and oak going. As you can see, there's tons of flowers around. We've also got a skeleton. Die, come on. All right. I also went for a big wander around the place and managed to find some dark oak. As you can see, butterflies have appeared. So the butterflies started appearing probably after the silver lime. So I put the silver lime out, and then maybe a couple of days in game. As you can see, we've got our first little cocoon here as well, which is really cool. So haven't seen any pollen yet, but I'm hoping that that will happen soon. This tree, I can't remember what it is, but I did get it in a chest in a village, along with this one, the hill cherry. So I think you can breed to these, and these will, you know, help us overall. So I just thought I'd plant them anyway. But like I said, when you get to these, you get to the mundane larch or the silver limes, and that's when you start, you know, a couple of days in game, and then the butterflies start appearing. So once again, no pollen yet. I'm hoping to get a few more of these first, but I just thought I'd check in and see, well, show you that everything is actually, that's a pretty one. What's that? Can't quite see it. So yeah, show you that the butterflies are actually working. So I'll be back again. Hopefully this will be the last time I need to cut it. We'll come back once we get a little bit of pollen, and then hopefully we can grow some Botania flowers and get back to the original aim of this episode, which was to get some Botania started, basically. So I'll see you back here in just a bit. Alrighty, so this episode I am now going to christen the accidental tree and bee breeding episode. We didn't actually need to do most of what I've done this episode. As you can see, I've done some vacuum chests. I have actually collected a few bits of pollen, but the pollen is the wrong sort of pollen. You can't use the pollen that falls from trees. There's only two sorts of pollen you can use, and they are the pollen clusters, of which there are only this one, which is from the industrious bee. A bit hard to breed that at the moment, but also the crystalline pollen cluster, which comes from frozen combs. Now, frozen combs, on the other hand, we can get. So what I've done is I've moved I made a couple more bee houses, and on the map, just over here, in fact, you can just see those there are two little bee houses in the forest biome, the boreal forest, because boreal forest is cold enough to run wintry bees. Wintry bees can then give us these frozen combs, and the frozen combs, as you can see, I've added a few more machines as well. Frozen combs we can throw into here, and hopefully we'll get some pollen clusters out of it. It's a 20% chance, so yeah, fingers crossed. Out of 7 of them we may get 1, we may get 2, we may get none. There we go, pollen cluster, fantastic, cool. So I'm very conscious that this episode has turned into a really long episode just to do this, which I could have done right near the start with doing the wintry bees over there. Now let's do some of that. Oh, look at that. Awesome. Just sprinkle some of this around. Cool, and we have plenty of stuff here to get started. So, mammoth episode again. Once again, this pack has kind of, well, not screwed me, but it has led me down a path that I wouldn't have done otherwise, purely to all these trees and bees. But let's face it, I mean, I was going to get into bees at some point anyway, and the trees are kind of cool, so it's always good to do the trees. Oh, look, got another cocoon there. So yeah, so I'm not too upset that we came this far down this path anyway. Just, yeah, a bit of time behind the scenes, and I should have just paid attention to the recipe up front. Assumed all the pollen was the same, but unfortunately not. They are different things. So, we can get some petals. I'm actually going to, I know I said I was going to do more Botania this episode, but I think I'm going to leave the start of Botania for next episode now, just because, yeah, I'm going to need to do a little bit more reading and figure out how to actually get started with it, and hopefully not mess you guys around so much in an episode. Yeah, before actually just doing the thing that we need to do rather than a whole bunch of extra stuff. Anyway, that is going to be all from me. As always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.